Hello and welcome to another episode of Wednesdays with WE. This is episode number 25. The guest I'm going to be having today was very crafty in his playing days, very shrewd, and had a great cricketing acumen. Even though he was part of a great batting unit, he made his presence felt because he would get runs which made a lot of impact for his side. And it was no wonder that he carved a niche for himself and is regarded as a very astute cricketer. And that's the reason is sought after for broadcasting jobs these days post his retirement. I'm talking about Russel Arnold, the middle order batter who started off as an opening batter for Sri Lanka. It's my pleasure to present Russel Arnold, the former Sri Lankan batter. Welcome, Rusty. How are you? All well?
All good, sir. All good. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. You moved out to Australia once you packed it in. And what was that move all about?
Yeah, just a change in environment, change to life. Um, the Obviously we're following instructions from the wife as well. But don't regret the decision. Life's gone well, and God's blessings have been abundant. Creating options to be able to do different things around the world, I think, should be looked at by everyone because that just allows you or gives you more freedom. And hence, yes, looking at it from the years gone by, very happy with decisions that I've made.
Obviously, Sydney, your current hometown, seems to have embraced you well.
Yeah, loving it there. Anywhere I'm a sports lover, that's what keeps me going. I like going down to watch live sport, and Sydney has plenty of it. Grew up as a rugby union supporter. You get a lot of rugby league in Sydney. Got into the culture, feel part of it, very close to a team as well, and that's my time pass, if you may like. Love soccer as well, and if I have a choice, WV, of making my way down to what I like, going down to the ground and absorbing the atmosphere, being a part of the environment. Strangely, cricket will be down the list. If there's a rugby match or a soccer match on, I'd rather go there. Probably because of changing environment, it gives life a spice rather than being in our own little uh, bubble, if you may like. And that keeps me ticking. So cricket is actually down the line when it comes to watching live sport.
I don't blame you. You spent enough years in cricket and you continue to do as well. But however, you must be missing Sri Lanka a lot because it has its own charm, doesn't it?
It certainly does. But when it comes to missing, I do visit Sri Lanka very often. I spend a lot of time there. I got family, my mother, my in-laws, my sister, my brother, they all live there, and our roots are there. I mean, you can't take the Sri Lankan out of him. That's where my heart goes initially. Let's say it comes to cricket or anything. Sri Lanka happens to be first, and that's the way it is. Do love it there because of the easy lifestyle and the weather, the beaches, the food. I must say is incredible. But life, all in all, has allowed me to experience different cultures, different environments, and hence, no, as I said before, no regrets at all. And I do end up spending a lot of time in Sri Lanka as well.
Great country, everything is fantastic. But an unfortunate thing about Sri Lanka is that it has always had to deal with some issue or the other, isn't it? If not of one kind, the other kind.
Resilient people, you must say, because the challenges Sri Lanka have faced over the years, not only in my lifetime but even going back, have been immense. And as you said, one follows another. But the people kick on, and if you are visiting Sri Lanka, you will always feel the warmth of the people. And they might not have much to give, but they give you everything, which makes it very, very special. But yeah, when you're looking to kick on, something else seems to pop up and drag you down. But we kick on, and you extremely proud of Sri Lankans for doing that, because resilience is what life is about, I would say.
Yeah, we admire your resilience as well. Now, let's go back a bit in time. You were born in Jaffna. Talk us through your childhood memories.
My parents were born in Jaffna. I'm born and bred in Colombo. So childhood memories, it was a bit of a rough one, and um, I have to appreciate my mom a lot. I lost my father when I was a few months old in a car accident. We were all in the car, but unfortunately, uh, he passed on. So my mother, from that stage, had to look after us. Luckily, again, she was a professional, a qualified accountant at that stage, so which allowed her to look after four of us, two brothers and an elder sister. Um, is my family. So my sister, my grandparents, they were around to keep us going as young kids because mom had to go to work. My early childhood studies, I studied in Sinhalese, even though my parents were Tamils, because that's where we could get to. It was just chaos at that stage as young children growing up with what I had just mentioned. Yes, St. Peter's College, about 5-10 minutes from home. That's where I learned my cricket, played my cricket. All that's my second home. Even as now, spend a lot of time there. My friends, we have friends and friends in life, and there are very few friends who you'd really turn to in time of need, or you can continue a conversation even though you're meeting them after 5 or 10 years from where it left off. So all of them would relate to people from my neighborhood or from school. So that's how it was. It's been blessed to have had enough in growing up in terms of food, water, opportunity, and hence really do cherish that childhood because there's lots and lots of memories, good, bad, and ugly as well, I would say.
Life was challenging for many others, wasn't it, during the early 80s when the Civil War broke out?
For everyone, for everyone, and probably we do look back and at ourselves and we tend to grumble and whinge, but the fact of the matter is there are many more who have real problems or struggle a lot more for various reasons. So what I've learned is to take a step back, a deep breath, sometimes give yourself a pat yourself just like that. Appreciate what's been there and focus on the positives, and try to make a difference to someone else's life rather than stopping to whinge about a sledge thrown at me by WV in commentary or something like
That had to come in, isn't it? That had to come in. Now,
that. That's
listening
that's
to
that's some of the nicer things that I can say.
listening to stories of turmoil, listening to various other things that was floating around then, did it make you tougher? Help you in cricket later on?
I would think so. Well, since growing up as a child and what was happening in life, you tend to forget about a lot of petty things around you, which most of us tend to hang on to, and try to focus on what you need to do, what needs to be done, and hence I guess it makes you harder, it makes you smarter, street smart, I'd say, um, and helps you kick on in life. And finding solutions is what life is about. It's not a case of not having challenges in life. It's about how you work around them or not let it affect you.
Yeah, this helped you because going through your career, you had to get a lot of runs at the school level and first class level to break into the national side, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had to score runs, and at that stage, it was not thought of like that. It was just having fun runs. It was trying to dream on and play with the guys you look up to growing up, and hence it was a challenge. Initially, nice to be around them. Then you want to try and tell yourself, okay, I'm as good as them, and try to improve your game. Well, if you talk of natural talent, I don't think I was the most naturally gifted player, but I think values that I had and the ability to read the game helped me in making things work. I would say rather than free flowing runs, I knew how to score runs if you get the angle that I'm going on. So yeah, I guess everything around you just molds you into who you are and what you can do.
Your patience was tested quite a lot because you had to wait for a while to get a break into the national side.
Yes, I was 23 when I initially got a break. Then I had to wait around. But every tour, I would get one inning for sure in a practice game as the extra batsman, and I'd end up getting 100 in that innings. But to be fair as well, 96 to 99, 2000, Sri Lanka had an outstanding team. Who were you going to kick out as well to play me? We had just won the World Cup. We were bashing everyone around. So sometimes those angles also need to be looked at, and we did have a strong batting lineup at that in that period that we are referring to. But then, as time went on, it wasn't a bed of roses. I had to move up and down the order to suit the team, which actually didn't help my game, I would say. So just few days ago on social media, it was there was a graphic floating around in the first 75 games in ODIs. My average and strike rates were a lot higher than everyone else, and the number of runs scored, even though I was batting down the order. It's after that, someone's asking me, um, how did it drop? But then, if we do go back in time, that's the time my batting position was moved from, let's say, 5, 6 to 7, etc. So all those tend to play a part. That made it a lot harder for the game I did have, because it suited that middle phase anyway. But then you try to hang in there and do your best. So I'm pretty proud of hanging in there.
Initially, you had the challenge of having to wait for either Atapattu or Sanat to fail. Now, talking of Atapattu, one tends to look at his story as an inspiration. Some would say lucky. What do you reckon?
Well, without luck in life, where would we be? Marwan Athapattu was naturally gifted, probably one of our most technically correct batters. Maybe another wouldn't have got that opportunity after all those failures. I initially made my debut as an opener in Test cricket, and Marwan was at three. Then the swap was made, um, from because Marwan wanted to open, or they felt he could open and use me further down the order, which actually didn't work for me. Because if I go down my record, my test average is just below 30. But as an opener in the 9, 10 test matches I've opened, I average 50 plus. And my first and my three test hundreds are also opening the batting. So a longer run could have meant could have also mean very different, because we mature as we go on. Some cricketers, WE, are seen as talented, brought into the team. They fail, they're kicked out. There are some who get a second coming when they're more mature, and they tend to work. So it just differs on where you are at, what the selectors think of you. If you're fortunate that a guy who sees it this way, or has seen you bat in the last year as a more mature cricketer, is in the selection committee. So I guess that's all a bit of luck, I'd say.
True. Getting a double hundred and not playing in the test match immediately must have been disappointing for you in England.
Yeah, it was a tremendous tour, that one. We have spent a long time, a lot of county games, got a few hits, got a 200 when we were following on to save a match. But it was a one-off test. And once again, with the Jayasuryas, Manamas, Aravindas in that batting order, it was a hard shift, I guess. We went on to win. And yeah, you'd like to play, but I guess reality needed to kick in. And I think Sri Lanka picked the best team on that day, though.
Shifting you down the order, did it help you personally or it was more of a move that benefited the side?
Um, well, in white ball cricket, at 5 and 6, I think I did really well for me and for the team. But then, come 2002, 3, when it was going really well for both, I was moved to 7. Now at 7, I don't think my game suits it. I also need a bit of time in the middle. I'm not a Dhoni type of blaster who can come in and blast it around. I am someone who controls the innings. So once that move was made, it didn't suit me as much. But in Test cricket, um, it didn't work at all for me being moved down the order. As I said, my record, I grew up and scored all those runs that you did mention in school cricket to catch the eye and then make the team. at international level as an opener, debuted, and my best runs were made as an opener. So it just didn't work for me.
The role of a finisher you did in those days. How tough was that role?
It was hard because you were always the scapegoat, but I enjoyed it. The fact that I could read a game well and understood my teammates around me, was able to get the best out of them in terms of partnerships, and win quite a few games for Sri Lanka was a joy. The moment you failed, uh, you were the scapegoat, or you didn't score, that's why we lost, because the top order gets to redeem themselves. Today they fail, tomorrow they get to spend a lot of time in the middle. Maybe you get a flat track, a weak bowling attack, you don't get to bat because the top order is making hay and making all the big runs. That's what people tend to focus on. But the low order has to go in, adjust all the time, sometimes go and swing straight away, and you don't get a long time to score those big runs also. So you take the scorecard, you're always way behind. It's only those who understand the game and how things work there will really appreciate it. But unfortunately, when it comes to the selection meeting too, more often than not, it's the scorecard that's brought in, and the numbers tend to outweigh the impact, I would think. In terms of, I mentioned the fact that understanding the players around you. So when I go in at 5 or 6, I generally go in with a Jayasuriya or a Jayavardhan or a Sangakkara. So then my role is just to make sure they're on strike so that their rhythm's good. Once the bowlers come in, if there's anyone who can hit a ball, try and get them, give them the confidence to get boundaries so that I'm there till the end, controlling it, picking a boundary whenever we needed. So I read it well at that stage, and I think I did read it well, and that's what I would focus on in the middle. And there was a game where a bowler batted with me. I got him. I told him, you play freely. He just slogged a few, played a few shots. He got to 40 not out. I was just 20 not out, but we got the runs we needed. The selector came and said, "We wouldn't need you because these guys are outscoring you." But the real dynamics of it was not the case. So, but I felt it was harsh, but that's the way it is.
Once you packed it in, and then as a broadcaster, you must have seen Dhoni play the role of a finisher. Your admiration went up for him the way he did that role.
Oh yes, because he could play both roles. There are very few who can do that. Both roles meaning when you needed to absorb pressure, he could do it. Now that was my strength, but I could hit a boundary now or then, but not 15 runs and over consistently. You give me 8 to 10, uh, I'll back myself. But Dhoni would back himself with 15 and 20 and over, and hit those big sixers consistently. Now, to be able to play both roles uh, expertly as he did, he goes into a very, very different league. And it was incredible. Now, there's not many players who can play both those roles. You get players who come with flamboyance and play and maybe come close to him in hitting those boundaries. Let's say Yuvraj Singh. But Yuvraj could not absorb pressure when needed and play with his partner um, as Dhoni did, which the team really did benefit. Yuvraj had to be the boss to be extravagant and express himself. That's when he was at his best. But Dhoni was at his best in both ends of um, the line, you'd think, in terms of being defensive and absorbing pressure to really throwing those punches. He was comfortable right through. If you understand what I'm trying to say, but
Yeah,
whereas we were in only just a particular zone of the different roles and skills in cricket.
yeah, he had various gears, and he knew when to operate on which gear. And getting back to you, you are a handy bowler yourself. Did you bowl enough, you thought?
I could bowl just a wee bit, but let's say if you give 10 out of 10 for Murali for his bowling, I'm probably 3 out of 10. Again, someone who'd know what the batsman's trying to do and make those changes, but not a real wicket taking threat. It's someone who could just do a job and give you a few overs. But obviously, with Murali in the team, opportunities to bowl were less. But probably that was a good thing, I guess. First class
Murli
cricket to
will,
international cricket's different.
Murli will always remain a legend. Yes, there's a lot of talk when you talk about Sri Lankan cricket. Murli has to figure in it, but it's rather bizarre or strange in a way that Rangana Herat gets overshadowed always. He doesn't get mentioned, isn't it?
It certainly is. What Rangana did was incredible. Again, we talk about resilience. It was easy for Rangana to walk away from cricket because there's not a lot of money in Sri Lankan cricket, and you got to go and find a life for yourself. You got to go and do things. You got a family to look after, and that might mean that you make a decision somewhere down the line and pretty early in your life. So Rangana was probably a few years, 4 years younger to Murali. And with Murali playing for such a long time at the same era, again, there were no opportunities. When in Sri Lanka, he debuted in 99 and then just couldn't play. But he kept playing at a very high standard, and his skills were also at a very high standard that even so late in his career, he gets an opportunity and he's able to slot in. India and other countries could be different. In first class cricket, you're making a life for yourself, but in Sri Lanka, you don't. Even playing international cricket, you have to play over a period of time to, say, okay, I've got some security from playing cricket. So that's what I mean. It was great to have him in cricket for such a long time, so that he was able to come in and really do things. Now, so you also probably won't know this, WV, for various reasons. I mean, situations of cricket get you to this. But Rangana Herat has defended the most number of lowest scores on the fourth innings of a test match. I don't think many others have that number as Herat has, against India, against Pakistan, who are better players of spin. So that is actually incredible. Now, Murali, Anil Kumble's haven't really done that. They've won matches in different ways. And fourth innings of a test match is when a spinner is supposed to dominate at 120s, 140s, 150s. Rangana has been more successful in doing that.
We've admired a lot of middle order batters from Sri Lanka across generations. You had the Mendes Dias, then you had Arjuna and Aravinda, of course, Guru Singhe then. Then you had Mahela, then Sangakkara. Could you just decode them for us briefly?
Yeah, so Roy Dash was very stylish. Early days, and coming into Test cricket, it's a feeler for everyone. Gullit Mendy more a hitter of the ball. I would say Aravinda was the master. Arjuna clever, but the master in or the engineer of batting was Aravinda, who took the standard slightly higher. Jayasuriya was just natural. You ask him how he hit a ball, he won't be able to explain to you. Just see it, hit it, and with that power, it was all just natural. Um, Jayavardhana, as a young boy, 13, 14-year-old, everyone said, okay, this guy is going to play for Sri Lanka, and he did. And when coming to tactical knowledge, I think he's one of those up there from the Sri Lankan side. But Sangakkara is way different. Hard work, repetitions, and he'd just be a machine. He'd probably be the ultimate professional. As a schoolboy, Sangakkara was not in the picture. It was just in once he matured very quickly and fast when he was in his 20s, and suddenly took off. His first class 100 was a test 100. He played at the NCC with me, where Aravinda also played. And there was a period of 6 months from where he just went to a different level. And he was fortunate that at the right time, when that instincts of being a great kicked into him, he got that opportunity. So he was able to just get on with it and move on. And over the years, he kept working really hard and more repetitions at what he did, trying to be a perfectionist. And that's what you saw in him. But Myler had a lot more flair and trusted his instincts a lot more, just like Arvinda. But Arvinda is the one who lifted the bar up, pushing everyone else to try and reach those numbers. But obviously, people coming along will score more. Cricket gets better. Sri Lanka cricket gets better. The teams get better, and hence you're able to perform a lot more. But Arvind brought that steel in, or the ability that, we got the flair to take these guys on, type of attitude into the batting.
There's a lot of talent in Sri Lankan cricket even now. Do you think the system is doing the right things to nurture them?
The system is trying. Uh, Talent, no doubt. Temperament, lifestyles. That's what's in question, and hence the consistency not there. Because now and again, we surprise the world. Now and again, even in the recent past, there are certain performances where you'll take note and see that was brilliant. But then they are unable to repeat it day in, day out. So I guess that comes down to individuals as well. Individuals got to need to look in and look at the bigger picture. Just because you score runs today or do you do something special, it doesn't give you the right to do the same thing tomorrow. You still got to go through the processes and maybe even better the processes. Like a Sangakara would train more, or that's what it worked for him. So it's a bit like that, and make sure that your lifestyles are in order, which do not interfere in your thought process or things you need to achieve. Because we're having lots of issues with discipline, and hence players are missing out, which doesn't allow the team to move forward. And hence, yes, the system can try, but it comes down to individuals as well. And if we are having an issue, the buck starts with individuals. I think that's where the challenges are initially.
Outsiders tend to think there's a lot of political interference in cricket. Is it possible, one, and is it possible because there is no solidarity amongst former cricketers to come together and do something?
I'd like to see all the former cricketers come together. That's for sure. Because different views do not help. My way or your way, my way or highway attitudes do tend to exist. Political interference, and other bumps along the roadway will exist, not only in Sri Lanka but anywhere in the world. We do find all this type of thing. Uh, I would say if the former cricketers get together, I think it will help in taking the vision of Sri Lanka cricket forward even better, and help everyone out, which is the way to go. Yeah, but other challenges will always be there in our part of the world.
I'll take you back again in time. 2007 World Cup was very eventful, wasn't it? Sri Lanka did well, extraordinarily well. There was also this much talked about demise of Bob Woolmer. And then it was also the last time you played for Sri Lanka. In that respect, it was quite nostalgic in a way for you.
Yeah, it was great. Getting to 2007 World Cup was an achievement for me. I said it was a rough road, lots of instances where I was getting kicked and it was easy to walk away. But then I had set my mind around 2005 that I'm going to give it a good go. If I make 2007 or not, that's going to be my last. And from about 2004-5, my plans to with the family and beyond were already on a roll. So I knew exactly what I was wanting to do in life. Um, I was lucky enough; the runs kept coming, and I was able to make that 2007 team. But again, at number 7, I was not the happiest because I felt, depending on the roles and the type of player I was better used elsewhere, and the results were always there throughout the years. But happy to be a part of the team. We had a good team. We had a good core of players who had been together. Our youngest or newest players were the likes of Dilshan, Malinga, Dilhara Fernando. So that'll tell you what sort of a solid team you have. And we believe we can go all the way. The format suits us. We've always been clever in playing multi-team tournaments. We're better at taking different opponents on than the same one all the time, and kicking them about. We're confident in beating everyone. Australia was the real challenge, and things were going to plan. things were going to plan. Everyone was performing. We were having a great time. As you know, Bob Woolmer's incident came along, which shook all of us. But we were not around, and it was not directly relevant to us. So it was easier to block it off, if you may like, and get on with it. Come the final, we knew we needed just one good game, and we had it. We had the players, Malinga, Murali, Vaz in the bowling. Our batting was quite solid, but that final was a little unfortunate. You get a Gilchrist coming in and slogging 149. When I say slogging, he had a bad tournament, and he got out in the semi-final. And comment he made, if you make the final, I'm going to block 3 balls and hit everything else. And he did 149. So special innings like that can take a game away from you. What can you do? The rains came in and it was slightly shorter game. We like to play the 50 over game because it suits our type, where the spinners come in more wear and tear in the game. So the shorter game really doesn't suit us. We are not firepower players. We are players who hit gaps uh, and accumulate runs, whereas we do hit boundaries, but that's not the real focus. When to bat, we thought one good knock, we're there, because that's the way the game is. We were on track, and then the clouds tend to come in. There were rains. When the rains came in, we were just 8 runs behind on Duckworth Lewis. So that's when Sanat tried to catch up. He got out. There was a bit of misunderstanding in terms of whether we should go off, whether we should stay on. The rules meant that we could come and complete the game the next day, but we ended up playing in dark, gloomy conditions, which just didn't suit us. And then we realized after 25 overs, yeah, there's a result. What's the point coming back tomorrow? Let's just finish it off. Australia so far ahead by now. And unfortunately, my last innings, I had to go in when you could hardly see the ball, and got out to a full toss. It was more at my ribs, and Fender and Gilchrist caught it running around. So that was an innings to forget. But then, all in all, what you do, that's the way it is. Things turned out that way. Nothing helped our type of game in terms of the rains coming in at those stages. Those are all beyond our control. And good on Australia. They were the most consistent team. And they had done enough, we thought, at that stage to win the cup. That's why the last few overs was a bit of a fast. We just bowl, we block it off, make sure it's done, so that we don't have to come back the next day.
Rather unfortunate end to your career as well as to the team's campaign. If you were to describe your cricketing journey, would you describe it as a happy one, or would you have mixed feelings about it?
I would say it's a happy one. Um, Easy to say or go with your second statement, but then at the end of the day, I've had a great run. I know you because I played for Sri Lanka. I won't know you. It's a case like that with many, and the opportunities that I've got where I am in life, it's been great. So I have no regrets. That's the way it is. I can sit and moan about certain things and take away the joy that I have faced in the people I've met, the places I've been able to visit, what life's done for me. Yeah, I'm happy. I've had a great run. It could have been so much worse, WE.
Yeah, I always love it when people say this. It could have been worse, it could have been better, but you look at the brighter side of things and you say it was happy. And I agree with you. And the other thing, you were regarded as a one who had great cricketing acumen. Not captaining, is there any regret?
Well, it was not the way it was. Probably if I was able to handle the challenges I mentioned and able to score more and more runs and be in people's faces, maybe it could have come to be. Yeah, I think I would have made a good captain, no doubt about it. I enjoy that role in reading the game and setting things up uh, for the team. But then again, sometimes things don't go to plan, and I got no regrets about it.
If you're given full authority now to take over Sri Lankan cricket, what changes would you make?
Well, I'll go to the team first. The team is my strength, not administration or anything as well. Cricket is my strength, and make sure, okay, get your performances together. This is what we do. encourage them. This is how I see it. This is what you need to do. If we can do this, and we get 3-4 wins together, you know what? 40-50% of our problems, even I would say even 60% of our problems disappear. That tends to happen in a winning environment. Then it'll be a much easier to focus on the remaining 30-40% of the problems that may seem that there are. Right now there's so many, but the moment you can start winning, do something, an individual be special, it disappears. That would be the way I look at it. That will be the way I'll go to it, and then look at how we can address whatever other issue we may have to make the environment better.
There's a lot of talk about Test cricket struggling to survive in the future, and of course, the 50 overs format also losing its relevance. Where do you see cricket heading generally in the world?
I'm enjoying watching all three formats. I mean, Test cricket. It's a long time since we played it. Enjoy watching it, but yes, there are concerns because there are certain teams you enjoy watching because the games are very, very competitive. But there are many more who are struggling. And even though a lot of players tend to say, "Oh, we like to play Test cricket," whether you like it or not, WE decisions are being made on where the money is. And you and I both know we can say we love this, we love that, but at the end of the day, the numbers do make a difference to our lives. You can't go to a hospital in Chennai and said, "I played for India, treat my family. I played for India, give me education for my kids." No, that's not the case. So security will play a part in everyone's lives, and decisions will be made there. So that's the fine line we have to deal with. But I do think we can keep it going. But we do have a bit of work to do in trying to make those players um, comfortable in where they are headed. Because if there's no security, you are gonna go and pick a job where you and your family will be comfortable. So at this level, most countries, Test cricket is not rewarding. So that's a problem we are facing. To keep it going, a balance and certain decisions, I guess, will need to be made to make sure that the players that you can ask certain players, let's focus on this, let's work on this. Without security, it's not going to be possible.
Fair enough. Finally, if you were to be 20-year-old today, which cricketer would you like to emulate?
Uh, could you fire that again, please?
If you were to be 20-year-old Russell Arnold today, which cricketer would you like to emulate?
Russel Arnold.
Why am I surprised?
No, I love myself. I like what I can do and how I can do it. I enjoy it. But I'm more mature now. I'll do things better.
Excellent, Russell. Thanks a lot for your time and also for a fantastic chat. I really enjoyed it. Hope you did as well.
Cheers, WE. Cheers. Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thanks for
much.
having me.
Despite this, I can't guarantee you I won't sledge you in the com box.
Well, I'll tell you what, it'll be boring without a bit of sense of humor. So bring it on.
Thanks, Russ. Catch you later.
Cheers.
Cheers. That was Russell Arnold. Absolutely delightful character to talk to, and I'm sure you would have enjoyed that chat. Like I always say to you, try and catch up with all our episodes on the handles of Sportstar on the YouTube channel, and also try and get all your friends to watch our program consistently because you do get to see a lot of fantastic cricketers during their days and currently involved with the game in various capacities talk to us and share their experiences, which are really worth mulling a lot about and see how we can learn from them. Until I catch up with you next time, take care and be good.